Why did deep cold suddenly cover North Dakota when winter felt normal before? People woke to frozen air, silent streets, and fear spreading without warning. Temperatures fell to minus 28 degrees Celsius, colder than many places on Earth. This cold did not arrive gently. It rushed south like something broken. Homes, cars, and skin felt stress as air burned faces and lungs. Weather scientists warned that Arctic air can move when high winds shift. Experts from the National Weather Service explained this pattern in calm reports. They said warming Arctic regions can weaken barriers holding cold air north. When barriers fail, cold spills south and reaches places unready for danger. This documentary begins before the freeze, when life felt stable and predictable. It examines how daily life felt before the cold arrived and changed everything. Then, conditions shifted suddenly. North Dakota towns moved slowly through winter, used to snow and low cold. People went to work, children went to school, and roads stayed mostly open. Farms planned winter feeding, and homes relied on heaters that usually worked. Cold was expected, but it stayed within limits people understood and prepared for. Weather reports mentioned winter systems, yet nothing felt dangerous or extreme. Families trusted power lines, fuel supplies, and cars to survive normal cold days. Stores stayed stocked, and travel continued between small towns without serious fear. Older residents remembered harsh winters, but this season seemed calm and manageable. No one knew the balance was already shifting quietly far north. But first signs appeared that something cold and dangerous was beginning to form. Weather maps showed pressure changes far north, noticed first by climate scientists. Researchers at NOAA tracked Arctic air growing unstable over warming polar regions. They saw jet stream winds slowing, allowing cold air to wobble and stretch south. This shift happens more often as Arctic ice melts faster than past decades. Logan Backhoney, a scientist, explained this using satellite data and long-term temperature records. Local forecasts mentioned stronger cold fronts, but words felt small and technical. Most people did not understand how far this cold could actually travel. The warning signs stayed quiet, hidden in charts and scientific language. The cold kept building strength, waiting for the right moment to move. Why did early warnings fail to reach people before the cold crossed boundaries? Scientists shared alerts through agencies like NOAA and climate research centers. They warned Arctic air was unstable due to unusual warmth near the North Pole. This warmth weakens the jet that normally traps cold air up far north. When the jet stream bends, cold air can leak south slowly or suddenly. These warnings appeared days before but felt distant to everyday life. Reports used careful language, avoiding fear or strong emotional words. Many people only heard simple forecasts, not the deeper climate reasons behind them. The cold air remained unseen from the ground while traveling across the continent. By the time warnings felt real, the cold was already approaching fast. Why did the weather suddenly feel wrong even before the cold fully arrived? Winds shifted direction, blowing from the north with unusual strength and dryness. Skies looked clear, yet the air felt sharp and painful to breathe. Weather stations recorded pressure drops linked to Arctic air moving south. Meteorologists explained this pattern using jet stream movement and pressure systems. The National Weather Service noted rapid cooling happening faster than normal winters. Night temperatures fell quickly, leaving little time for people to prepare. Animals searched for shelter earlier, reacting before humans noticed danger. Car engines struggled overnight, showing the cold was already taking control. The strange feeling in the air was the cold announcing itself quietly. Why did the cold grow stronger each hour instead of stopping as expected? Arctic air poured south freely after jet stream winds bent and slowed. Young scientists from NASA say warming poles weaken the wind barrier holding cold. Without strong winds, heavy cold air sinks and spreads across flat land. North Dakota's open plains allowed freezing air to travel without resistance. Temperatures kept falling through night, breaking records set decades earlier. Weather stations confirmed -28 degrees across many counties. Frost formed within minutes, freezing skin and metal almost instantly. Power systems strained as heaters ran non-stop against rising cold pressure. The cold had fully settled, and escape now felt impossible. What moment turned dangerous cold into a full disaster for communities? Temperatures plunged fast, causing power failures, frozen pipes, and stalled vehicles everywhere. Emergency services reported rising calls as people faced exposure and heating loss. Hospitals treated frostbite cases where skin froze after minutes outside. State officials warned travel could become deadly due to sudden engine failures. The National Weather Service confirmed life-threatening wind chills across North Dakota. Schools closed, roads emptied, and silence replaced normal winter activity. Farm animals suffered as water froze and feed systems stopped working. This disaster unfolded quietly, without storms, only crushing cold pressure. The cold showed how fragile daily systems become under extreme temperatures. How did people describe the moment they realized normal life was no longer safe? Residents spoke softly about fear when heaters failed during the deepest cold nights. Parents said children cried as rooms grew colder despite blankets and extra clothes. Elderly people shared stories of sitting still to save heat and energy. Truck drivers explained engines died suddenly, leaving them trapped on empty roads. Farmers described ice blocking water lines, putting animals at serious risk. Local radio stations shared voices asking neighbors to check on each other. It's just, I don't know what else we could have done. You know, sometimes the cold just gets right into your bones. No one shouted or panicked. Fear stayed quiet and heavy inside homes. Their voices showed how cold changes human behavior and priorities fast. Water pipes froze inside walls, stopping cooking, washing, and basic hygiene everywhere. Schools closed not from snow, but from buildings unable to stay warm. Many stores shut doors as workers could not travel safely in extreme cold. Buses stopped running because engines failed and doors froze shut. Parents stayed home, choosing warmth over jobs as survival became priority. Phones became lifelines as people checked weather updates from trusted agencies. The National Weather Service urged staying indoors to avoid deadly exposure. Simple tasks felt risky, turning homes into shelters instead of comfort places. Life slowed to survival mode under constant, invisible cold pressure. What quiet struggles happened inside homes while the cold locked people indoors? Families slept together in one room to share warmth during freezing nights. People placed towels under doors to stop icy air slipping inside. Some cooked simple meals using camping stoves, careful to avoid fire danger. Parents watched windows frost from inside, a sign of deep indoor cold. Neighbors shared generators when possible, following safety advice from local officials. Older adults moved slowly, knowing a fall in cold rooms could be deadly. Pets stayed close to humans, sensing danger and seeking shared body heat. Time felt slower as hours passed between daylight and darkness. These small stories showed survival depends on quiet choices during extreme cold. What proof showed this cold was not normal winter weather anymore? It's crawlism. Scientists compared temperature records using data from NOAA and state weather stations. They confirmed -28 degrees was far below long-term winter averages. Climate researchers showed similar Arctic outbreaks increasing over recent decades. Satellite data revealed unusual warmth near the Arctic during this same period. This contrast weakens wind patterns that usually keep cold air contained. NASA scientists explained this process using long-term ice and temperature loss data. Peer-reviewed studies support this link between Arctic warming and extreme cold events. These facts came from measurements, not opinions or fear-based stories. The evidence showed this cold fit a growing and proven climate pattern. Why does warming Earth sometimes cause colder and more dangerous winters? As you can see here, the warming is clearly uneven. Yes, the Arctic regions are glowing significantly warmer than the lower latitudes. This rapid warming melts sea ice that once reflected sunlight back into space. With less ice, the Arctic absorbs more heat, changing air movement patterns. These changes weaken the jet stream that controls cold air movement. When the jet stream weakens, it bends and slows instead of flowing straight. Cold air then escapes south, reaching places like North Dakota. NOAA researchers have observed this pattern in recent decades. They warn such disruptions may increase as global temperatures rise. Warming does not remove cold, it moves it in harmful ways. How is this extreme cold connected to the larger story of climate change? Climate scientists say rising greenhouse gases trap heat in Earth's atmosphere. This trapped heat warms oceans and polar regions faster than land areas. The Arctic is warming about 4 times faster than the global average. NASA and NOAA both confirmed this trend using satellite and surface data. As the Arctic warms, normal weather boundaries grow weaker and unstable. This instability allows extreme heat and extreme cold to appear unexpectedly. North Dakota's freeze fits this pattern seen across North America and Europe. Climate change increases weather surprises, not just steady warming everywhere. This event shows how distant Arctic changes affect everyday lives far south. Who faces the greatest danger when temperatures fall this low so suddenly? Health experts say older adults lose body heat faster in extreme cold. Young children are also at risk because their bodies cannot regulate heat well. People without stable housing face life-threatening exposure during such freezes. Outdoor workers risk frostbite and lung injury within minutes of cold contact. Farm animals suffer quickly when water and shelter systems fail. Doctors and emergency planners warn these risks through state health agencies. Cold does not harm everyone equally. It targets the most vulnerable first. It's a really sure fact. Knowing who is at risk helps communities respond faster and more carefully. How did everyday life look after people adjusted to constant extreme cold? Schools stayed closed longer as buildings struggled to warm safely again. Work shifted online where possible, reducing travel during dangerous temperatures. People planned short outdoor trips, covering skin carefully to avoid frostbite. Grocery trips became rare and planned around warm daylight hours only. Communities shared updates through local radio and emergency alert daily. Heating costs rose sharply, stressing families already facing winter expenses. Health workers checked vulnerable residents following guidance from state agencies. Life continued slowly, shaped entirely by the need to stay warm. Cold became the main rule guiding every daily decision.
But damage remained even after the cold loosened its grip slightly. Water pipes burst inside walls, causing flooding once temperatures slowly rose. Roads cracked under stress from repeated freezing and thawing cycles. Farm equipment suffered damage as metal weakened from extreme cold exposure. Local governments reported high repair costs after emergency response ended. Health officials noted lasting frostbite injuries requiring long-term medical care. Wildlife populations faced losses after food sources froze for extended periods. A deputation of the world, the director of SORA, scientists say such damage increases with repeated extreme cold events. Insurance data confirmed higher claims compared to normal winter seasons. The cold left marks that could not be fixed quickly or cheaply. What actions could reduce harm if such extreme cold happens again? Climate scientists say reducing greenhouse gas pollution slows Arctic warming over time. And energy experts advise improving home insulation to keep heat during power strain. Communities can strengthen power systems against extreme cold failure risks. Early warning messages must explain danger clearly, not only technical weather terms. Emergency planners recommend warming shelters ready before temperatures crash suddenly. Farmers can protect animals better using freeze-resistant water systems. Scientists from NOAA stress preparation saves lives even without stopping cold. Change takes planning, patience, and listening to science carefully. Small steps together can lower future damage from extreme cold events. Who stood up quietly to help others when fear and cold filled the region? Just checking in on you. Oh, how thoughtful. Neighbors checked on elderly residents following advice from local safety officials. Volunteers opened warming shelters in churches and community centers across towns. Utility workers repaired lines in freezing air, risking frostbite to restore power. Doctors and nurses worked long hours treating cold injuries calmly. Farm families shared generators and fuel to protect animals together. Local governments shared clear updates based on National Weather Service guidance. These actions were small, steady, and focused on care, not praise. Hope appeared through cooperation, not speeches or dramatic moments people showed. Survival grows stronger when communities move together quietly. Why does this quiet cold story matter long after temperatures finally rise again? North Dakota's freeze shows how climate change reshapes risk in unseen ways. Scientists warn Arctic changes will keep affecting distant places unexpectedly. This cold was not random. It followed patterns measured by climate agencies. Lives were altered not by storms, but by invisible shifts in air. Fear came quietly through frozen homes, stalled cars, and fragile systems, experts say. Listening to science helps reduce harm before disasters arrive. This documentary asks people to notice slow warnings before sudden extremes. Cold conditions show that safety depends on preparation, trust, and shared responsibility. The future unfolds quietly, shaped by human choices.